So I have to say, coming out of episode 14 of Steins Gate Zero, I think this is not only one of the best Steins Gate Zero episodes, but one of the best Steins Gate episodes, period, when compared to the original series and now Zero. Now what I really like is how this episode functioned. Like, I can criticize maybe the visual presentation all I want, where some of the animation and directing was completely on point, especially with the action scene that was present, but a lot of the general scenes, even in the simplistic scenes, were pretty underwhelming in terms of visual presentation. But even with that said, I adored this episode so much. I just really love how the characters were presented, where the story's heading, and everything in between. So even with the visuals maybe not blowing me away, or maybe I even consider them to be underwhelming in many ways, I know they'll get cleaned up in the Blu-ray and DVD release. This episode was so good content-wise that my issues aren't even issues for me for this episode. You know, having the idea of Suzuha and Daru working behind Okabe's back, it makes sense. Okabe has made it very clear he wants nothing to do with time travel, and this world line, even though he knows the path it's taken, he did so much just to keep Mayuri alive. That's enough for him. He's not playing God anymore. But it makes sense that they're trying to do the time leap machine, because they only have one more go with the actual time machine before it will run out of juice. But the time leap machine, they can alter history and alter the past through just data and messages. So it makes sense that they're trying to kind of rebuild that, but the only way that they could probably have a chance at rebuilding it is if they have someone basically with as strong of a mind as Kurisu, and the best thing they have next to Kurisu is Maho. But I like Maho in this episode because everything about this is really well done. Like, Maho to me is the best Steins Gate Zero character because she easily could have been a forgettable character, and I mentioned it when she left to go back home, that I thought her just overall arc has been fantastic, and I wanted to see more of her, and I'm glad we're getting more. Because it'd be very easy to keep Maho in the way of feeling like she was always under Kurisu's shadow, and this entire episode was really about the self-worth, and her just trying to figure out, like, what it is she should do, because everything about Kurisu was so much better than her own inventions, her own kind of theories and speculation. So what is she supposed to do? She loves Kurisu, but at the same time, people are wanting her to be Kurisu, and she knows she can't. When you look at Mozart's music, someone else, even if they were friends with Mozart and had their own skills in kind of crafting music, they can't craft Mozart's music. Mozart's music is Mozart's music. Kurisu's research is her research. So I like the idea of just where her character kind of progressed in this episode, and kind of the coming full circle and realizing, like, I've been looking at this the entire wrong way. I need to craft it for myself, not just try to be her. And I really like the realization and kind of like how her character kind of went full circle in this episode, and her traveling back to Japan and obviously wanting to work with Okabe and the gang again and try to figure out if they can do something with the time leap machine. I'm really interested to see how Okabe is going to react to this, because it's clear he's going to get filled in for the details pretty damn soon. I mean, we know he will come back to a mad scientist. We knew that since like episode 23 of the original Steins Gate. But it's really interesting how Maho was directed, and I think it was probably one of the most impressive things Steins Gate has done, period, because I already liked what Maho kind of like offered to the table in terms of a character arc, but having this episode really bring her full circle, really thrust her into the spotlight, make her even more important than she already was, it's really awesome. I'm super happy with how Maho has been just represented in the anime overall, and I'm so excited to see more. And what I also really like is how they baited and switched the viewer again. Now, when we see Girl in the Helmet and she takes off the helmet and it's Kagri, I'm like, oh, well, that makes sense, because I don't remember every bit of detail of where she was at any given moment. So I was thinking, her being the girl in the motorcycle helmet, that makes sense. I mean, really, when you think of it, where was she at that time? I wasn't thinking that she was at the temple. We always knew she was brainwashed in some way, and then to see everything that happened with the last episode there, so her being the person trying to assassinate Okabe and the gang makes total sense. But then when you see Suzuha saying, like, it's impossible for her to actually be her, that person, it's someone filling in because she was at the temple. So I was like, okay, so it still has to be the female professor who was originally in that helmet. Like, I mean, knowing that it is the professors and just in the future they were brainwashing Kagri, it just feels like it has to be the shady professors, who are very enjoyable in their own way. But I like how they baited and switched the viewer, because they convinced me. I'm sure there are going to be people remembering that Kagri was at the temple at that time, so there was no way that it could have been her. But for me, I didn't remember that small detail, so it was really fun to see that, like, oh shit, you know, Suzuha has to fight Kagri, and then Kagri getting her little toy there once again and kind of escaping. Like, it really shows just how broken her mentality is. She's crying, she can't do anything but follow orders, and it's so heartbreaking to see her in that state, and I'm really interested to see where her character is going to go for this current timeline. Like, what ultimately is going to happen? Is she going to be able to break free of the brainwashing? What is the brainwashing truly for? Like, just sabotage Okabe and the gang? Like, what exactly is that going to present for everything? And that's going to be very, very intriguing. But I think one of the most impressive things is just how it keeps playing with expectations and taking the viewer along for a ride, thinking you're knowing where it's going to go, pulling you back, shifting your expectations, and putting you on a completely new path. And that's really fun, especially for someone who loves time travel and how they're kind of like manipulating everything around them. I'm most excited to see just how Okabe is going to react, learning that they're trying to build the time leap machine again. Is he going to be completely pissed off? Is he going to just kind of accept that no matter what he says or does, basically, he's going to just have to play along or just not interact with them? That's going to be fun, but I think him learning that the time leap machine maybe is already built because Maho's going to develop it, or that she's going to be working on it, that's going to set him on the path of maybe putting back on that lab coat and becoming the mad scientist, and that's going to be really fun to see. But overall, like I said, I think this is one of the strongest Steins Gate episodes, period. I really liked everything that it brought to the table. Makes me even more excited for future Steins Gate Zero episodes, but let me know what you're feeling, your favorite moment. Let me know down in that comment section below, and if you enjoyed the video, remember to leave a like, and if you're new, also be sure to subscribe. So until next time, everyone, please take care and have a good one.